Everyone, this is On, and I'm coming to you with this month's video. And this month, I wanted to talk about how hope helps you. And I think hope is such an interesting thing. It is one of those pieces that can be very powerful in our life, or it can be one of those pieces that hold us in illusions, actually, at times too. So it kind of depends how we're using it, where we're coming from with hope, because hope is this tool that can be so powerful. It can manifest things, it can create things, it can open all kinds of doors for us. I know for myself, if I didn't hold hope for things, life would be very different than it is. It would be much harder than it is on me, much more challenging than it is on me. And it is hope that gets me through like times like today. And I say that because today was kind of a rough morning. When I started my day, it was a little bit rough. It wasn't like bad anything happening, but it was one of those times that it really just brought home pieces of reality that sometimes I don't like to look at or I've forgotten about. But it's the hope that sees me through. It gives me that inspiration sometimes, and those who have followed my journey know that I've dealt with a lot of challenges. I live in some pretty hard conditions, deal with some pretty rough stuff along the way. And fortunately, I've been able to take that and use that as a source of inspiration for people. Um, but every now and then I get dosed my own, I get to dish my own dose of reality, let's just say. And when that happens, it really drives home, I think, a lot of different things from gratitude to appreciation to rethinking things, reflecting on things um, to holding on to what's possible. But it also reminds me where I'm living on borrowed time. And that was what came up for me today. Things that I'd forgotten about because I've been doing so much work on myself um, came up in some conversations today with people, and it led me to look at some things and research things that I hadn't looked at because sometimes I set stuff aside if they're not really an issue. And every now and then the synchronicities happen and a conversation matches something that I'm researching or really looking at. And that's what happened today. And it hit a bit rough because today it came through and said, as of the beginning of this year, basically, I'm sort of living on borrowed time. Um, but hope gives us the possibilities in these tough situations to realize how much power we have to influence things, how much power we have to change things and to shift things and to make things incredible, even when they're hard. So when we look at this component of hope, we're being hopeful, which has a lot to do with our upcoming influences in November, and the code energies there. And when we look at hope alone, it's really about dealing with things. It's about coming face to face with our past choices and seeing how that's going to play out moving forward and finding peace with the choices that we've made, making peace with our past so that we can move forward into a calm and favorable way. And if we really embrace the past aspects and we really look at it and we say, okay, this has happened. This is a part of reality. I made maybe some poor choices in the past, or, I did human things, which I think we all do. And I think this is a reminder that we can't always be holding people to something that they made a choice about 20 or 30 years ago, because most of the time we didn't have the information back then that we have now. We didn't have the understanding. We didn't have the realization. And so when we do that, it's it's very interesting to bring this hopeful piece up because it is all about peace. It is all about finding that calm center again. And I think if it hasn't been for hope, I would have given up a long time ago. And I don't know if I'd still be here now. honestly, sharing my work, sharing what I do, writing this book every single year. Huge book. 2026 is out, by the way, for anybody who's interested in it. Um, Without hope, I don't know that I would be producing some of the things that I do. And I encourage people to do this because we can lay the foundations for a solid future. And that's what hope gives to us. Something that is solid, something that is found uh, stable enough for us to work with. And stability doesn't mean that we're totally locked in. It doesn't mean that we are totally um, that everything's going to be totally rosy perfect. It just means that, we have a foundation to work from where we don't have so many worries and anxieties to deal with constantly. And I'm hopeful that that's going to be moving in my direction. It provides a sense of peace as we go through life. Now, when we look at this component of being in hope or hopeful, it's connected very much to abundance. And when we look at the energy patterns for abundance, what's interesting with that is it's about having command over our life. So that is showing us that no matter how much we have going on in our life, how much turbulence happens in the world or disruption of peace happens in the world, that there is always that possibility that we can hold an aspect of command over our life. As long as we're not turning our power over to people, as long as we are strengthening ourselves, as long as we are doing the work that we need to do to create that so-called better future or that future that has some strength and stability to it that can see us through. Hope will also bring forward for us success and blessings. And part of that is because it works from an aspect of a positive mindset, an aspect that is looking at what can happen. And this is where, when it blends with this sort of reality effect, because we do have those people that use hope in a very delusional way. It's nowhere attached to reality. They're hoping for things that are just not going to happen. They're not realistic. They may not exist. And I'm not saying that somewhere out there in the, wildest realm somewhere that it's possible, but because to a certain extent, anything's possible, we could say that. But it's not grounded in the reality of here and now. And when we have hope, there's actually the true sense of hope. We have this component that does ground into reality. In other words, it is the wisdom of what is possible, knowing that something actually can exist if we put the time and the energy that is necessary into it, if we make the effort, if we don't procrastinate on things, if we handle what needs to be done, then it can happen. And the blessings piece, it really opens up when we bring hope, and it helps us to see a sense of purpose, a sense of value, a sense of worth. And that gives us the drive to keep going. That gives us the drive and the motivation a lot of times to keep moving forward with what needs to be done and not just giving up on things. It also brings regeneration to things. So there's this regenerating factor that comes out of hope. Again, it can be like breathing new life or fresh life into us. And I mean, even with my situations, when I look at it and I can say, okay, I'm on borrowed time, what hope does that give me? Where does that take me? And when I go and I do my reflections later today, um, it brings me into another layer, another space of priorities. What's really important? What's really valuable? What is joyful to me? And it regenerates aspects and components that maybe have been set aside trying to just survive, trying to just get through things. When we have hope, it gives us the ability to embrace what is flourishing and to be grateful for it. So when we hold that hope, when the blessings, the successes, the abundance, the positive things come through, we can embrace those things. If we don't have hope, we'll automatically discount those things and say, oh, but it's not going to last. Oh, but it won't hold. Oh, but it's just going to fall apart. We can't tune into the blessings. But if we have that hope and we have that wisdom base that we're working from that does have a realistic component to it, it brings us back into, oh, thank you for this. This is amazing. Thank you for this piece of information. Thank you for this piece that is a reminder to me. Thank you for bringing me back into this space of getting more present, getting more connected to what's important. And just that gratitude then, of course, opens more doors. We've talked about that in the past. And we can also be giving hope. And when we give hope to others, again, that is not a false sense of security. What we can do is we give hope to them by helping humanity, helping animals, helping the earth. Anytime that we do those components of that, we will give hope. And that, that can be small things. It doesn't have to be these big, gigantic global endeavors, even though, if you want to do that, do it, great. Um, but, hope can come in the smallest things. It can come by opening a door. It can come by appreciating a bathroom attendant. I mean, these sound silly, but your little piece of appreciation, your little piece of courtesy, your little piece of kindness to somebody, which are free. They don't cost us anything, right? Um, that can be just the little piece of inspiration that keeps somebody going. And so I hope, um, I hope that you'll take that time to just do those acts that can instill hope in people. Just be there if somebody needs you to be there. To just open those doors where it's possible for you to open them. We all have different ways that we can open them, uh, different ways that do it. I know one of my ways is to work with cats. I go to one of our local shelters and I work with the cats there and I help them to have hope that they'll get a home. And in the last couple of weeks, one of them didn't make it. And that was hard. That was hard to see. But a lot of them do. And it's that hope that gives them the ability to come out of their shell, maybe. That hope that gives them the ability to show their personality so that they do get adopted. That hope that they can have somebody who is loving and have a good home. And it makes a difference for most of them there. So when we look at that component of providing hope, whether we're providing hope or receiving hope, it opens the heart energy up. And that heart energy also opens unconditional love in us. When that is open and flowing, we are going to care. And that caring is great. And sometimes, yeah, it can be a little painful. But we're in unconditional love. It doesn't always or really feel like pain, at least in my experience, because the love supersedes any of the painful pieces. Um, even with things like at the shelter, where sometimes something happens. It's beyond our control. And but if I know I've given what I could give, in the meantime, at least I could give a little love along the way. And that's more than they would have had otherwise. So when we open that unconditional love and we open that heart energy, we open almost an unlimited use of power, an unlimited use of ability to shift, to change, to transform, and to generate more hope for ourselves and others. It helps us to be in connection with our immortal self and to see that there is light at the end of the tunnel. That's a big piece because when we feel like there is no light at the end of the tunnel, we feel like it's just all darkness, we tend to give up. But if we feel like there's a light at the end of the tunnel, if we realize this isn't going to last forever, the challenges won't last forever, the pain, the hardships, whatever it is that we're dealing with won't last forever, then we will definitely be able to move through things. And we will hold that connection to whether you want to say the immortal self, the soul self, to spirit, to God, to divine source, whatever term you want to put in there. Um, we're going to get through it. And I think that's really valuable in these times because I think when I look around, it feels like a lot of people have lost hope. Some people are holding hope still. Um, and it's very, very mixed out there in some ways. But having that connection is the key, no matter what the result ends up being in the long run. That connection is needs to happen no matter what. No matter what the direction is that we're taking, we want that connection there. Um, because that plays out on a bigger level. That's plays out with our soul in there. And being hopeful, being in hope, it reminds us that we can get through anything when we let spirit lead. And I think that that is a big thing. We have that connection there. We let spirit take over and handle things. And it gives us a different perspective on things. It gives us a different outlook on life. It helps to pull us out of what feels like misery, what feels like hardship. And it helps to bring us into the blessings when we do that. And we can. If we let spirit lead the way, if we look through the eyes of God, if we look through the eyes of spirit, then we can get through anything. Um, there's no challenge too good, too big for that, honestly. It will bring harmony with others when we reside in hope. And this is part of that positive energy. When we hold a positive energy within ourselves, when we have a hopeful outlook on life, then we tend to connect better with other people. We tend to see the positive. We tend to see the good in them. We tend to, again, see what is possible. And because we're not in misery, we're not bringing all of this garbage into our connections. We're opening up possibilities and opportunities in those connections. And then it inspires action. And I think that that's a big thing. Again, sometimes we're going along a path and we think this is the path to go. And sometimes we need to take a different path. And when we find hope in challenges, when we find hope when we face reality, um, then it can inspire us to take the actions that we really need to take and not just the ones that we want to take. Um, and that's huge. That's huge. Even if they're challenges or actions that we wouldn't have necessarily chosen for ourselves, hope allows us to do that. It gives us that strength to do that. So hope helps you. It helps me in a lot of different ways. And I think that that's important, all the different things it can open up for us, all of the blessings, all of the gifts. And we need to be grateful when they come in. We need to embrace them. We need to accept them. We need to enjoy them. And as long as you keep holding hope from a space of wisdom, from a space of knowing, yes, this is actually possible. Yes, it does match up with reality in this world as being possible. Then it's a pretty darn good thing to hang on to. So I hope you'll be working with hope over the next month. And if you'd like to pick up a copy of my book, because a lot of people say it gives them hope when they're going through life and going through their day, head on over to my website, compassioncodes.com. The name of the book is The Code Journey. You'll see on the tab over there for books, The Code Journey, and you'll see the 2026 edition. It's up at the top. I have a couple of shops that carry it. And you can check that out. Their addresses are available, and you'll find a lot of other things on my website as well there. So check it out. Pick up your edition. The links are on the website to get you directly to the purchase pages because sometimes it's not easy to get there when you're doing searches for it. But it will get you directly there and it will help you out. So With that, I will see you all next month. I have a very busy week ahead of me, and I'm going to embrace all of the hope that it gives me and all of the inspiration it provides me and enjoy it for everything I can. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.